I believed I was very, very ugly. Doesn't really enter my sphere that I'm not good enough. I actually managed to get from that critically poor state of mind to where I'm at right now. That's really weird that I'm thinking this way, and you're gonna self-correct yourself. Just not be sad all the time. I just found myself continuously coming back to self-acceptance, self-love. Hey divas! Okay, so lately I've been watching a lot of videos from Flutterflies, and she makes like makeup tutorial videos and shit, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start making makeup tutorials as well, because she's a diva, so why can't I be a diva as well? I want to talk about what it takes to change, right? For me, the idea or the concept of changing was something I really got into when I was like really young, because I have no idea why, but I fell into like this like rabbit hole of hustle culture. I'm sure some of you guys are aware of like the whole frenzy with hustle culture. We're talking men lifting lots of weights and saying, "Yeah, wake up today and fight another day." It was just really, really insane. And if I'm being really honest, as a 14-year-old girl, hustle culture genuinely makes zero sense. I had no business grinding as hard as I was grinding at 14. That's just what I think. But anyways, I've just always been very fascinated with the concept of change, the concept of growth, self-development, etc. I'm going to be using the Pro Concealer. I've just always been really into self-development, etc. And I've been trying for as long as I can remember to change or to become this like higher version of myself, because I think self-development, at least for me, took different shapes and forms throughout my life. In the very, very beginning, it was very much like manosphere, exercising every day, taking cold baths, doing all this nonsense. And then a little later in my life, it became a situation of like becoming your highest self. You know, it was a lot more, it was like packaged to me a little differently. It was packaged to me in this like very girly girl boss format, but nonetheless I believe it's the same. And I just want to share personally what I think actually works, or at least what actually worked for me, because I used to just believe that like, oh, if I just like follow this person's like 10-step morning routine, I'm gonna become like the best person in the whole fucking world. And for me, honestly, that was not the case, unfortunately. I would continuously go back to my old habits and be left in probably like a worse space than I was before. And I'm going to be talking specifically when it comes to change, like the things that genuinely like haunt you, like the things that genuinely haunt you and your life. And for me, I've always struggled with depression, social anxiety. Currently now I'm battling with normal regular anxiety, just negative self-talk, struggling with genuinely just having a good life. But something that happened to me a couple years back is I was genuinely at the lowest stage of my life, and I had probably the worst self-concept humanly like imaginable. I had a really, really shitty self-concept. I believed I was very, very ugly. I just believed I was like fucking ugly. I felt like I was so ugly. I don't know how to explain this, but I was so afraid of like looking people in the eyes, because I felt like if I looked at someone like straight in the eyes, they were gonna see how fucking ugly I was and they were just not going to interact with me anymore. I felt like I didn't. I'm so sorry, y'all people who do makeup are looking at my face like, what the actual fuck is this woman doing? I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know how to do makeup. I'm a fraud. You caught me. But anyways, I genuinely was in a very, very shitty place in life a couple years ago. Okay, this was like semi fresh out of high school. I was no longer in like the bubble of high school where I was just constantly thinking about school and deadlines and assignments. I was like, for the first time in my life, I had free time to just look at myself, and I did not like what I was looking at. I would say for a large majority of my life, I don't think I had like a very shitty self-concept. At least at the very I think I want to put the blush first. This is called Nude. I don't know if this is like the brand, but if you want to use this as a tutorial, I'm so sorry. You cannot use this as a tutorial. This is nonsense. I thrifted this. It was probably like €1 somewhere in Freiburg. It's a lipstick, but it's a lot. So I kind of use it as blush because I don't have any blush. So yeah. I like to put like my blush by my eyes. Someone said that apparently like if you have like a round face, it's very good to put it like by your eyes. And I don't know if I have like a round face, but I definitely don't not have a round face, so I'm doing this bullshit. But anyways, I would say I don't think I had like an exceptionally terrible like self-image issue. I don't think I thought much about myself for a very long time. I would mainly say that I was very indifferent. However, I just genuinely wasn't struggling nearly as much as I was during this period. And for context, after high school, I started developing like acne. And I think I was not ready for that. I was not ready for acne birth, but acne was ready for me. But anyways, I just genuinely lost it at that point. My whole life, my sister and my mother had always kind of like praised me to some extent, to being like, oh, Anissa has such beautiful skin, she has such beautiful hair. That's all I remember like being told in terms of my beauty. I don't think I was necessarily told like, oh, you're a very beautiful girl. It was just mainly this like, you have really nice skin and you have really nice hair. You know, it was never like, you're a pretty person or whatever the fuck. So since my skin was no longer perfect or whatever the fuck, I'm sorry I keep swearing, I genuinely, like, my self-concept plummeted and I felt really ugly. I felt like I was like not deserving of love anymore. It was not a fun time in general. I feel like I didn't put enough blush, if I'm being honest. I love a lot of blush. Put a lot of that shit on me. But I just genuinely felt like, fuck, I'm not like pretty at all, actually. And that was that. And what would happen is I would like wake up in the morning, I would look at myself, and then I would just begin to pick myself apart. So I'd look at myself in the mirror and be like, there's a new pimple here, there's a new pimple there, there's a dark spot over here, there's a dark spot over there. Oh, by the way, you're also like not smart. You're also like struggling to find a school to go to. You're also like dealing with all these like other emotional issues. And I would, for 2 hours, I believe, I would continuously put myself down, make myself just like, you know, just like bully the fuck out of myself. And it was not fun. I was getting very, very desperate at this time. I was looking at pills, I was looking at procedures, I was looking at serums and stuff, like just like anything I could find to like help me get rid of the problem, because I genuinely believed that if I had perfect skin, I would be gorgeous and then I wouldn't feel that way anymore. However, that's not really the case, because I remember my friend telling me like, bro, like if you literally had perfect skin at this rate, you're gonna find something else to hate about yourself. And I kind of knew that, but I didn't really want to believe it or anything. I just was like, you're capping. If I genuinely had perfect skin, I would feel good about myself, so shut the fuck up. But I was just not in a very good state. And then it just genuinely took me going through the worst breakup imaginable for me to be at absolute rock fucking bottom. But because I'd experienced something like that, I was in like a state of like, I am so at the bottom that there's no way I could like get worse than this, you know? And bro, that shit humbled me so bad. I was like, well, you know, I might as well like get some hobbies, you know? I might as well get like gang, I was looking for this. Gang, I was looking for this. Like, I don't think you guys understand, bro. Like, look what God did. God did this shit. Okay, fuck. Can I put this shit on? Okay. Anyways, I was in such a terrible place mentally that I was like, yo, might as well love ourselves. And I kind of got to a place where I stopped using all of the products I was using. I would just look at myself in the mirror and be like, diva, this is what we got. What can you do about it? And basically to bring it back to the idea of changing and what it actually means to change. I would say that now it doesn't really enter my sphere that I'm not good enough. It doesn't enter my thought process that I'm not attractive. It doesn't enter my thought process that I am not deserving of love. Do I have thoughts like that? Yes, I do. Everyone does at some point. That's just life. However, I genuinely got into a point in my life where I'm so good. Like, I'm genuinely so good. When it comes to change, and I'm particularly looking at a situation where the situation is you don't want to feel like shit anymore. You don't want to feel sad anymore. You don't want to be anxious anymore. You want to, I don't know what the situation is. You want to change your lifestyle. You want to, I don't know what you're trying to do, bruv. Change requires denouncing who you've always been. And I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up, because in the very beginning, even for myself, it was like, okay, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm shit all the time. I don't want to think I'm ugly or whatever the fuck. Like, I want to be a boss-ass bitch. I want to be like walking around the streets, like living so confidently and being so cunty. Like, that's who I want to be. But that meant that every single time I had a thought where I was like, you're not cunty, I had to be like, no, I am. And every time I had a thought where I'm like, you're so ugly, I had to be like, no, baby, I am. You know, like, actually, I am. And it's very crazy to think that I actually managed to get from that critically poor state of mind to where I'm at right now, because I don't necessarily think I am prettier than I used to be. Looking back, I was genuinely such a gorgeous babe. Such a gorgeous babe. I just didn't believe I was. That was literally it. Like, the issue was with my brain. The issue was with my state of mind. Got this bad boy from my good friend Love It Down. I just want to add like some like blue shit to my eyes. I think it'll be fun. But I don't know if I can actually do this while talking. So I'm gonna pause. Okay, what do we think? I love colored makeup. Ooh, this shit makes me so happy. But as I was saying, to genuinely change, it requires you denouncing who you've always been. That's just I think that really encapsulates everything that is required when it comes to changing. Because I think a lot of people really put a lot of emphasis when it comes to discipline and, you know, you need to be really strict and you need to have like a that I think can come a little bit later. But if we're looking at a very specific situation, at least the one I'm talking about for myself, where you hate yourself, you are at rock bottom, you're in a state of chronic pain, chronic suffering, chronic like doom, you know, like that kind of state of mind is the pits. If you've ever been there, you know it's the pits. And when you're in a state like that, you can't just be disciplined and just wake up every day and be like disciplined. Like you don't even have the energy to do even that. I think when it comes to a situation like that, genuine change, or at least change that is, at least in my opinion, feasible, is where you're accepting of yourself, accepting of the circumstances, accepting of who you are. It genuinely requires radical acceptance. And maybe I will get into that in a separate video. However, it requires a radical acceptance as well. But it also comes with like gently denouncing who you've always been. Just denounce that shit. So the way I can kind of look at it is that, let's say you're just used to telling yourself your shit. Every day you're like, you're ugly. I'm using this for myself, like what I did, but I genuinely believe you can also put this on whatever such shit you're going through. I think you can put that in the same category. But like, let's say you're just genuinely like, you're always saying the same rotten stuff to yourself, right? Just like, think about what your usual pattern is. Like, let's say for me, I would wake up in the morning, I'll look at myself and be like, it's time to feel like shit. So instead of doing that, I'd be like, what I usually do is look at myself in the mirror and tear myself apart. So today we're going to take a different path. I'm going to denounce that from the path, and I'm going to be like, we're not doing this. And I'm going to put on my headphones, do whatever I need to do, and I'm going to focus on something else. So that is a very tiny action that I would do, for at least for myself. I think at some point I actually tried to put stuff on the mirror so that I wouldn't look at myself. I had to physically stop looking at myself because I was like, this is not healthy at all. So little things like that. Whenever you get triggered, when someone says something, it's like, what would your old self usually do? And now denounce that. Be like, no, we're not doing that. And then try and do something else. I'm gonna be so for real with you, mama. Like, it doesn't always work. It's not even, it might not even work 80% of the time. But if it's gonna work, like, let's say 20% of the time, if it's gonna be 20% of the time that it works, eventually it's gonna be 25. And then eventually, oh yeah, we're putting on white lashes right now. And then eventually from 25, it's gonna be 30, and then it's gonna be 50. And then you're gonna work yourself up, and eventually 90% of the time you can say no to the bullshit that you're used to doing because you have a little bit of practice. You're actually saying. And another thing I want to really get into is that I feel like a lot of the times people think that, like, I think at least for me, I thought that I was going to always be miserable. I thought I was always going to be sad. I thought I was always going to feel that way about myself just because of how strongly I felt about it in that time. And so I really neglected trying to do anything about it because I thought that the journey was going to be this like long, excruciating journey of like 10 years until eventually I'll get to this point. And it took me like 5 years. Okay, realistically, it took me quite a long time to get here. However, I think the brunt, the actual work, isn't in like the entire 5 years that I have taken to get to this point. I would say that like maybe the first 6 months of genuinely putting myself in a situation where I was like, no, we're not saying shit about ourselves anymore. We're not going to engage in this kind of behavior anymore. It took like maybe 6 months, spending a year of doing that for me to lay the foundation that was very, very necessary, that would basically pivot my life in a completely different direction. And I feel like that's something I really want to challenge you guys today. If you want to change yourself, and this is not even in a superficial way at all. This is like, you want to undo years and years of trauma, years and years of feeling like you're not lovable, years and years of feeling like you're not worth it. Like, if you want to do that kind of work, I would challenge you to try for 6 months to just pick better choices, to rewire the way that you think about yourself, to rewire the way that you think about the world. Get a couple books. The 4 Agreements, read that book. Read that book like it's your Bible. Read some books, listen to some creators that you really, really like, and put yourself in this like bubble of like only good energy, only good things are getting in. Surround yourself with people that actually give a fuck about you and love you. And like, just for 6 months, intentionally fuel yourself with, what the hell is this? For 6 months, intentionally fuel yourself with goodness, with richness. Give yourself grace. Give yourself acceptance. Try it, mama. I know you're so like addicted to your suffering. Mama, I was too. You're addicted to your pain. You're addicted to feeling like shit. You're like, actually, I love that shit. I love this shit. You know, you think you're more deep. You think you're more interesting when you're sad. I get it. But at some point, you will realize that shit sucks, actually. It's really nice feeling good. Trust me, it feels really, really good to feel like a hot ass bitch every day. So give yourself 6 months. I'm not gonna lie to you, these lashes looking crazy bad. I was talking too passionately. Give yourself 6 months to like actually lock in. And I promise you, once those neural pathways are like switched and changed, for like the next, this is actually bothering me, for the next years to come, you're gonna find yourself, even when nonsense is trying to get into your sphere, you're like, actually, like, that's weird. That's really weird that I'm thinking this way. And you're gonna self-correct yourself. Because I feel like that's kind of what happened for me. Like, once I had laid the foundations, like the years coming after that, I just found myself continuously coming back to self-acceptance, self-love naturally. Like, I still actually, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have fallen off the wagon quite a bit. I haven't touched like a self-help book or anything like that in a while, and somehow I still have so much confidence because of the foundations that I laid in those 6 months, in that 6 months to a year, I don't remember. So I think if you really are about that and you want to just not be sad all the time, just try it out, girl. Give it a try. I'll say my lip combo low-key is like this red shit. I don't even put on like lip liner or anything like that. Just put on this red shit. This shit makes my lips look really red. I don't know how it does it, it just does. I'll say give it a try, and then after those 6 months, if shit hasn't worked, you can come back to my comment section and shout at me, honestly. I take full responsibility. But I just think that your life is so beautiful and too gorgeous to be wasted with negative self-talk and you feeling like you're not worth it. Like, what are we talking about right now? Like, what are we actually talking about? Yo, do you think I should do something to my hair? Let's try. I look so cute. Yeah, I think that's just it, honestly, what I wanted to say, low-key. I feel like I don't feel very comfortable talking because I always feel like my phone's gonna say, that's enough storage for you, queen. But I hope you guys like these kind of videos. If you do, I might be doing more. because I enjoyed making this video. This is fun as fuck. This is fun as fuck. I think I really want to make more videos about this topic. If I'm being honest, I would say this is very much rough draft things because I am very passionate about stuff like this. And I'm not kidding when I say I was genuinely in the pits. I was in the pits. And I'm so proud of myself for genuinely doing the work that was necessary to get out of that. Did I have much of a choice? If I'm being honest, not really, because I do genuinely believe it's because I was really at rock bottom and it was really just like do or die. But I am still very, very grateful that I didn't just die. And I just think, y'all, like, life is so juicy. Life is so gorgeous to be like spending it being like a sad girl. Life is too fucking gorgeous. Life is too fucking amazing. Like, just be happy. Choose happiness. I hate to be that person. Do you know, I'm not even going to lie to you right now. I'm not even like the happiest person right now. Like, I'm actually going through a lot of anxiety, and I do need to buy the 4 agreements again and like re-enter my phase of just like pouring myself with love and intentions, because I haven't been on my grind for a very long time and I've been letting a lot of like nonsense get into my head. So I'm also speaking to myself, but I just think it's so important. This message is so important because me and my best friend, we used to be sad baddies. We used to be really, really sad baddies, and we thought that shit was normal. We thought like, oh, you know, such is life. We're just gonna be sad forever. But it really took that experience for me, at least, like that gap, my gap year was amazing. My gap year really showed me that, like, girl, you don't have to be sad, actually. That shit's a choice. Like, that shit's actually a choice. And I feel so good for realizing that that is a choice. And I don't want to be sad anymore. I just don't want to be sad. Like, bruh, I've spent my entire childhood and school years and high school being like a sad little baddie. I just want to be a baddie now, you know? This is the look. Honestly, gang, if y'all don't fuck with it, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not that good at makeup. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm really not. I winged this entire thing, but I think it's cute. I think it's cute. Okay, divas. Bye.